ужасно такая занятая жизнь, вот такая постоянная гонка.
И доходишь до какого-то момента, что ты демонстрируешь продукт в Белом доме с президентом Соединенных Штатов, и ты понимаешь, что здесь все возможно.
Он посмотрел в мой паспорт, сказал, O1, welcome.
Если в Москву с России со всей едут, то в Нью-Йорк со всего мира. Это интернациональный город.
My name is Jessica Long, and I am a 13-time Paralympic gold medalist in swimming, and this is my story. My story is really unique. I was actually adopted from Irkutsk, Russia, when I was 13 months old. I was born to a young single Russian girl. She was 16 when she had me, just wasn't able to take care of a disabled baby. And I was born with fibular hemimelia, which basically means I was missing both of my lower legs. I had a foot with 3 toes, but because of my birth defect, she was not able to care for me, so she put me up for adoption. And during this time, there was an American couple in Baltimore, Maryland, who they wanted to grow their family. And they already had 2 children, but they weren't able to have any more. So they looked into adoption, and they were at a church event, and they were asking around if anyone was looking into adoption. And I believe it was that moment that my parents decided to adopt me and another little boy from Russia, who later became my brother. My dad went over to Irkutsk, Russia, and adopted us from an orphanage. I remember my dad just telling me a story that he remembers walking in the door and looking for me and my brother Joshua right away, because in his eyes we were his kids and we were siblings and everything, and he was just so excited to hold us and to welcome us into his family. And when we tried to fly home, there was a blizzard of 1993, and we actually ended up spending an extra night in Montreal or something. We were rerouted, and my poor dad was coming home with 2 brand new babies he had just met. But we ended up coming, I think we landed in March of 1993. My grandparents came to the BWI airport and got us and drove us all the way to my parents' home. And my mom walked out of the house, and I went right into her arms, and Josh just started playing. And we were just welcomed into this new family. It just all worked out. It was totally part of God's plan, is what I believe. And my name was changed from Tatiana to Jessica Long. Hi.
Hey.
Hi.
How you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. I got the Chinese that you ordered.
Oh, good. I don't think Gracie can make it.
And I have the remaining medals that were at our house.
Were they in the basement?
They were where we keep them.
And it's pretty crazy because once we were adopted, 4 years later, they'd end up having another girl. And then after that, another girl. So I'm one of 6 kids. My parents did an awesome job telling us from the beginning and letting us know that they were not our real parents. They didn't give birth to us, but they were mom and dad, and they were who chose us and to love us. And you know, it was something that it was hard to understand at such a young age, but because they were so open to talking about the adoption, and if we ever wanted to talk about, you know, our Russian family or why were we put up for adoption, and we had those questions, you know, as we grew, my parents were really very patient, and they just let us talk. What was Gracie doing tonight? I think she had school or something.
She had school, yeah. Everybody's busy. Yep. Mom's helping babysit Amanda. Well, not Amanda, but Colton
the
and
babies.
Clementine. Yep.
Steven and Sarah, yeah.
Which one of these do you like better?
I don't know. I never felt like I was adopted. I always felt like part of the family. I think my parents did an incredible job raising all of us, and just the fact that they adopted kids with physical disabilities. And for me, it was missing both of my legs, and my older brother, Joshua, he had a cleft lip and palate. But that takes really special people. Just going into an adoption when you know that you're going to have multiple surgeries. My first surgery was when I was 18 months old, and I've probably had about 12 different surgeries on each leg. And it's a lot. I mean, when you think about a little girl, you know, every time I grew, you know, it was, oh, I'm going in for another surgery. And, you know, on top of still understanding, you know, that I was adopted from Russia and, you know, I didn't have my legs, but now I'm getting another surgery. And it was very hard for me to comprehend. For me, I think that's really where this determined younger girl started to form. What I love that my parents were always doing was getting us involved in sports, and each kid kind of had their own thing. In my family, there's 2 boys and 4 girls. So for me, I found swimming, and I loved it. I would spend hours and hours in my grandparents' backyard pool, and it was my favorite place to be. You know, and in the water, I don't realize I'm missing my legs. You know, in the water, I love it. I would try to hold my breath as long as possible. I thought I was a mermaid. I still do. I just could play and not feel this disability. My grandmother was actually the one who found an article in the local paper about just a swim team. And I remember just thinking, you know, why not? Let's try it out. So I went to my first swim team when I was 10 years old, and I loved it. Pretty soon I was starting to beat the girls with legs, and I was like, this is really cool that I am beating these girls who are kicking. And they didn't treat me like I was a disabled swimmer. You know, they treated me like a friend and a competitor. And if it wasn't for those girls on the team and the way that they treated me, that I was still a human being, even though I was missing my legs, I don't think I would be where I am today. The first Paralympics I ever competed in was the 2004 Paralympic Games in Athens, Greece. And I was 12 years old, and I was not expected to make the team. And I think just knowing that little part made it all just that more exciting. And you know, no one can prepare you for what it's like to compete at the highest level. I was really nervous. So there I am swimming as hard as I can, a little 12-year-old, so tiny. And at the flip turn, at the halfway mark, I was 5th. So I was falling behind. But my parents, they would tell me the race, they were there, and they said, you know, it was amazing to see me come from pretty much last to just catching the world record holder, the current world record holder. And we're coming, you know, neck and neck, and we're 15 meters out, and I remember saying, you know, I did not come here to get second. And we swim into the wall as hard as we can, and we touch within 1/10 of a second. And when you think about that, that's a fingernail. It was so close. I mean, I had to look up at the scoreboard to see who even won. And there it was, a little 1 next to my name, Jessica Long, and I had just outtouched the world record holder for the gold medal, my first race ever. The crowd goes crazy, and you know, the first people I look for are my parents, and I remember being nervous if I could raise my hand in victory or not. But that was the start of it. You know, that one race was the start of my whole career. When I was 12, I competed in the Paralympics in Athens, Greece, and I won 3 gold medals. And when I was 16, I competed at the Paralympics in Beijing, China, and I won 4 gold, a silver, and bronze. And then when I was 20, I competed at the Paralympics in London, England, and I won 5 gold, 2 silver, and a bronze. And at my last Paralympics in Rio de Janeiro, I was 24 and I won a gold, 3 silver, and 2 bronze. And my next step is to compete at the 2020 Paralympics in Tokyo, Japan.
Okay, all right, so we'll go on the 40. Ready, go.
My typical daily routine is waking up at 6 a.m. I grab my swim bag in the morning and get ready for the practice that's about to come.
Okay, so 17, 17. Is that right? Did we count the same way? Okay, so you're 31.8. So you're within 3 strokes of matching it to your time.
Normally that's about a 2-hour practice, a 2-hour swim practice. I have recently started working with Paul Yetter, and he's been my coach coming up to about a year, and it has been incredible. He is such a passionate guy, and for me, being an athlete and swimming competitively for 15 years, I need a really passionate coach, and I need someone who's eager and willing to work with me, and Paul does that.
Swimming at 31, you're going 17, 17, so you're going 34 strokes. So just see what happens if you take a little bit, take another kick or two, okay, and just see if you can be 16 instead of 17. Go a little deeper off your push there. See if you can take one less stroke coming back, be 16, 16, mainly just off the walls.
What's the price I've had to pay to win gold? I can't think of one thing. It's everything. It's sacrificing time, family times. It's getting up early, and really it's repetition. It's repeating the same thing over and over and over again and expecting a different result. I think anyone can say they want to win a gold medal, but to do it day in and day out. And it's not just the physical toll that training 8 hours a day can put on your body, it's mental. It's reminding yourself why you started. And for me, I have to go back to the fact that I love the sport of swimming. That even when I have a bad practice, or even if things aren't going perfectly in training, that I love it, and there's nowhere else I'd rather be. And that makes it a little bit better. I also really believe you have to be passionate. Without passion, I don't think you'll get very far, And for me, it's not always glamorous. People are always going to be there to support you when you're on top of that podium, but it's those 2 years out that you're doing the same thing, the same intense training, going to bed early, missing parties, missing family vacations, just life. You put your life on hold, and it's worth it. It's really worth it in the end, because you know that you did something that not a lot of people are really willing to do.
So just spend like a little more time underwater, just like if you're underwater for 1 more second off of this wall, and you're underwater for 1.5 seconds longer off that wall, then you'll do it. Okay, so it's all about just ride the line a little bit longer. All right, on the 30. All right, no pressure, no pressure. Ready, go.
After my practice, I drive back home and I unpack my bag and start to make breakfast. And at this point, I'm starving. I just swam 5 to 7 miles, so I am looking for protein, I'm looking for fruit, I'm looking for carbs, and hydrating myself, my body, and just refueling. When I think about all the work I'm going to put into training, I definitely want to put in the best nutrients into my body. So my go-to, I love eating some eggs, I love fruit, blueberries, bananas, and it's kind of funny, I'm always in water, but I also love drinking a ton of water. After I have had breakfast, I head over to the weight. I have a Jeep Wrangler, and I named her Cleo. She is bright blue, and I love driving her. I drive with hand controls. Since I have prosthetic legs, I am not technically allowed to drive with my feet, so they have made a way for me to drive with my hands. I have a lever on this left side of my Jeep, and when I push in, it is brake, and when I pull, it's gas. And then my other hand, I'm able to steer on the steering wheel, and I have a knob that allows me to do sharp turns while this other hand is occupied driving.
Morning, Jess.
Hey,
How are you today?
good.
Good,
How are
good.
you?
All right, I'm doing well. I'm doing real well. Did you have a nice weekend?
I did.
Awesome. Hey, we're one step closer to those World Championships, right?
I know, I
All right,
think
we
it's
got
like 3 weeks
3
away.
weeks away. One step closer. Each workout just getting better and better. All right, let's work towards today. We're gonna win today. All right.
Okay.
Let's win this matchup today. All right. Let's
Yeah.
take a look here. We got some shoulder rehab stuff here at the beginning, just to keep you nice and loose to start off. Did a little bit of pressing, some push-pull, all right?
Oh, yeah.
And then we got down here with some quad control. We're gonna work through the obliques. All right, we're gonna try to get a little bit better with the ball movements in terms of being explosive.
Oh, I like the
all right?
balls.
And then everything today is just gonna be really working to that stability move,
Yeah,
all right?
I
Everything's
focus.
getting you better, all right?
Yeah.
Getting you ready for the World Championship. Let's get after it. Let's go. Yeah, let's do it, rock and roll. All right, so get the seat first. All posterior chain right there. Anterior tilt, good. 1, 2, good. We're gonna go 30 seconds straight here. 30 seconds, good. You got it. I got your time. Keep going, keep going. Good. Get the waves.
I can feel it.
Yeah. So we get that tightness. Good. Good. Toss. Good. 3. One more. 5.
Obviously, Tokyo is the goal, and that is where I would really love to end my career. You know, the final race, the final leg of this 15, at that point it's gonna be like 18 years of competitive swimming. I'm still keeping my body sharp in the weight room and in swimming. You know, I've really learned that I don't have anything left to prove in the sport of Paralympics. So for me, these next 3 years, going into Tokyo, it's really for myself. Tokyo will be my last one. Number 5, which I think is crazy, but I'm really excited, and I'm gonna give it all that I have in these next 3 years. So some things I'm really considering once my swimming career ends. I'm becoming a swim coach, and last year I was a coach for the St. Paul School for Girls swim team. It was so fun, you know, just getting to know these little girls and seeing, you know, during difficult sets when they didn't give up. For me, I'll be coaching again this year, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Swim on 45, and that's hard. You'll be adding, you'll be going a little bit faster on that. And then you are going in 30 seconds. So 6 times through. Let's go, girls. Let's go. Keep it up.
Next year, in June 2018, I have a book coming out, and this is something I've wanted since I was a little girl. Me and my journey and my story and the struggles and the not so glamorous days, and it's been a really fun project. My little sister Hannah actually wrote it. She did an amazing job, and I'm really excited for people to read it and just to get to know a little bit more about me. The way we worked on the book, there was a lot of texts and calls, and getting really, really excited.
Hello.
Hey girl, how's New York?
It's good.
It looks like the book's finally like really coming together, which is really exciting.
I like writing. It was fun to just call you and talk about it and
Yeah.
kind of go back over all your life and all the memories.
I know.
It's probably been almost 2 years that we've been working on it.
That's crazy. We really figured out the chapters and what we wanted to give readers and to explain, you know, what we wanted, you know, how did we want to leave, you know, what mark did I want to leave on the readers. You know, I've always wanted to be able to share my story, and I didn't know that my story was going to unfold to what it's kind of become. Right before the London 2012 Paralympics, I opened up with a Russian news station and said, yeah, you know, I think it would be a cool idea to meet my family one day. And little did I know that from that little statement that I said, something I wanted to do maybe 2-3 years from down the road, the Russian reporter went and found my family. The next year, the following year, is when I went to Russia. I decided to take my little sister Hannah over with me to Russia, and it's really interesting when I look back. I can see like how incredibly numb I was through the whole leading up to Russia. I knew that maybe one day I really wanted to meet my birth mom. It was something that I could really picture, like I knew of her, this idea of her. But I never thought that years later that she had married my biological father, and that they had the 3 children, and that I was the oldest. You know, I mean, what can prepare you for meeting your birth family? And I was going to Russia, and I didn't have my security blankets. You know, I was in this different country, and I was not really even sure why I was heading over there. But when we did arrive over in Russia, finally, it was my first time ever meeting them. It was hard, you know? My first encounter was when I first hugged my mom. It just was very eye-opening to see that this could have been my home and my family. I mean, you don't even know what to think, you know? You're meeting this family. And she had claimed, my birth mother, Natalia, had talked about how they were planning to come back and get me when I was 3 years old. But again, I don't know how much this is all through translation, so that was really, you know, hard to hear. But at the same time, the whole reason I went back to Russia was, you know, I really wanted to meet this family, that, you know, my birth family. And I wanted to let my birth mom know that I was not angry with her, and that no matter what, I was really thankful that she put me up for adoption, because it gave me the opportunity to be adopted by an American family. I have been so blessed to have this incredible family. Each person in my very large family plays such a big role, you know, and everything, my support system. That's, you know, my parents for always supporting me. I mean, just their endless support. I call up my mom with, you know, she hears my good days and my bad days, and my dad's always there to help me with more of the business side of swimming, but he also shows his love in so many sweet areas. And I have a great siblings. You know, I have an older sister and 2 older brothers and 2 younger sisters, and they're all so fun for so many different things. And my little sister Hannah was actually the one that came over to Russia with me when I met my biological family. So we're all so close. We're that family, like, we love spending time together. And now that we have nieces and nephews, and I mean, it's getting bigger and bigger. So I am such a family girl. I do love my big family. Like, I have such a great support system, and I am really thankful for all of them. My coaches play a big role. They're really important in my life because they have helped me get to this point in my career, and I would not be the swimmer that I am without Andrew Barenko, who's my first swim coach ever, who has trained hours upon hours just to work with me. And then my new coach right now, Paul Yetter, you know, he's been really, really excited about the Paralympic movement, and he wants to carry on this legacy that I've created. And just, you know, I think Tokyo for me is going to be my final race. So I've got these great coaches, and then my boyfriend plays a big role in all of it. I mean, he's my best friend, and I mean, he hears all of it. You know, he is the person I go to, but he's also, he's just someone that at the end of the day, he's who I choose to be with. You know, I have all these amazing people in my life, and it's really cool when you think about that. There's so many people who need hope in this world, and they need a good role model, and they need something that they are passionate about. And there's going to be really, really tough times, and this is something that I say a lot, but when you are given a circumstance that you can't control, it is in those moments that you have to look at your situation and just know that you are going to have a good outcome with just pushing through and having perseverance, and knowing that no matter what comes your way, that you can overcome it. And I feel like I'm living proof of that. You know, I was never, ever expected to go as far as I have. You know, to win gold medals, and to be just where I am. And I hope that anyone just looks at my life and think, hey, if that girl's doing it, I can too.